All right, everybody, welcome back to the second episode of the Drunken, Idaho podcast. I'm sure it sounds a little bit better this time because we are in my brother Mike's studio.
Hey, all right.
How you doing, Mike? Thank you for letting us do this.
No problem, dude.
And obviously, we have Jake here as well.
What's up?
Not much. All right, well, we all saw Dune, finally. I did my full review on my channel, but I thought we'd take the discussion a little bit further and talk about the movie. I have no clue what either of you think of it, so it should be interesting.
Yep.
So I think it would be even more interesting to get Mike's take on it first, just overall impressions.
Okay.
What would you think?
Let me give you my background first, right? Because I know you're like huge into Dune. You read all the books. Is there? I don't know. Are there many books? I don't even know.
There's 6 original books, and then they started doing like prequels shit. So it's kind of like Star Wars in that sense.
So I'm
prequels now.
Got it. So I'm a Dune newbie. So I'm a Dune bee.
Dune bee. Perfect.
And I have because I have no, prior knowledge of anything. So I'm coming in cold. I've never even seen the '80s.
The Lynch one,
right?
Yeah.
It's pretty wacky.
Got it. So I'm coming in super fresh. And my initial take is visually it was crazy. We watched it here.
Right.
I actually had it a couple of days before it hit HBO Max because I watched it on Plex. So me and my wife sat down and we watched it, and
we don't condone that. We don't.
Yeah. But we watched it, and it was visually stunning. I have to say I had to put on the subtitles, only because there were sentences like in the beginning we started watching it, and then a couple of sentences go by, and I'm like, I didn't catch any of that.
I
didn't catch a word of that.
It's like, nope.
I can see that.
Right, so I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm putting on the subtitles because at least, like, I don't know names, I don't know places, I don't know all this kind of stuff. So at least if I see it and I read it, maybe it'll be a little bit easier to understand in context.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sense. Yep.
So we watched it like that, and that really helped. That definitely helped.
Right.
I think you didn't see it in theaters then, because it would just probably like fly by.
Right. It had a little bit of a problem that most movies have nowadays, where they have very soft parts.
Yeah.
And then something loud happens.
Right.
Fuck, I can't find a goddamn
Exactly.
volume level. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
So that was a little odd. And then as far as like the story itself, like it felt very familiar. The storyline itself, like it felt like something that I've seen before. I can't really pinpoint what that would be.
Because a lot of things copied off of it.
Is that right?
Like, okay.
Yeah, that's basically I think that comes from.
And the biggest, I want to say the biggest negative that I have about it was the fucking music.
Really? The Hans Zimmer?
I've heard this from a couple people too. Yeah.
It was weird.
I'm interested to hear.
Was it Hans Zimmer? I actually didn't look it up.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
So usually I dig him. Like he's done some good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, when he did stuff with Batman, that was great.
Dark Knight. Yeah, that was
Dark
great.
Knight series was awesome. But like, and actually, I would to kind of give a Batman example. At the end of the original Batman with Keaton, when they're like panning up the building, and he's on the top of the building, very, very end, like last shot of Batman.
The first one?
The very first one.
Okay, yeah.
And so you know how the music kind of builds to that point where it's like,
right.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, right? That was this entire movie. This entire movie was building,
right?
And it had nowhere to go. You know what I mean? So like even like scenes that meant nothing.
Right.
This music was like, whoa, like something was happening, and I'm like, dude, I felt tense. Like I felt like super uncomfortable. I was like getting anxiety. But by the end of it, I was like, fuck, thank God. Like just stop. There was only really a couple of times where it was noticeable that he cut out, like the music cut out, and he just let the scene play, and that was and when that's the exception, not the rule, it really was noticeable, like how anxious I was being, because of the
whole movie was tense as fuck because of the music. It's all the music,
of course.
You know what's crazy too is that caught me off guard listening to, because the weird thing about that is Hans Zimmer released 3 different soundtracks to this, because he started making music before the movie even came out.
Oh wow!
So there's another album called the Dune Sketchbooks, and that one is like way more musical, and it has certain themes for people and stuff. And the regular soundtrack just doesn't have any of that. It's just kind of like it works with the movie, but not so much like.
So was this
listen to? If you're just
got it. So, but you said that he wrote something. He wrote music before the movie, which is interesting because like even like writing a song. That's like writing the lyrics before the music or the music before the lyrics, that type of, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, so, I think they did collaborate together because it was like when they were still doing the music and editing and everything, it was still during like lockdowns and stuff. So I think they did have a collaboration, like him and the director, but I think he started getting ideas before, and that's what like the sketchbook is. So
Got it.
Yeah.
So, but was it, okay, so let me ask you then. If you heard this other soundtrack that he did where it had like thematic songs to it, do you think that would have changed your view of the movie completely? Like if something like that was in it where it was traditional, like that's like a traditional score for a movie. Like the main character walks in and you kind of hear a little theme underneath, or like a scene is playing off and you kind of and then it subsides and does what it needs to do, but then picks back up when it needs to pick back up. Would you have had a vastly different opinion if that was the music that they chose?
Yeah, maybe. You know what? I'm actually, I've heard other people too say that like, oh, this soundtrack's horrible. Like I tried to listen to it, like even before the movie came out and stuff. I actually don't mind it because I don't think Dune lends itself to that traditional like John Williams type of thing. I said it in my review, like I love that stuff, obviously. Yeah. I'm really big on, even as a musician, like I'm big on melody. Like I like when things are memorable and all that stuff. But for some reason, with this, I like the harsh, like industrial almost sounds and stuff.
I get that.
That just worked for me because it's more about setting a mood, I guess, than like here's the theme for Paul.
Right.
So.
I wonder what my like full review of the movie would be if it was that way. Only because for me that was distracting at times, and that. I get it because like you said, the Dark Knight stuff. Also, like he does a lot of Christopher Nolan shit, right?
Yeah, he did Interstellar and he did Inception. That was the popular one with the fucking French
weird
word.
movie. Yeah.
Oh, you mean with? I got it. Hold on. But you. You mean this?
Oh.
It was 2.5 hours of that. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like I like. Inception was cool with that because you're just it was noticeable. Like Hans Zimmer kind of made a name for himself with that because you're like, damn, this is fucking kind of like you said, industrial and kind of had that feel to it. But I just wonder if since they're trying to make they're going to be making several movies of this.
Yeah, hopefully.
Attracting a new audience such as myself. I'm hoping maybe.
It becomes a little more conventional.
Yeah. But I'm also hoping that it, my qualm with it is in detracting other people to get when they see it to actually get into it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So whatever. That's what. Where did you think of it? What was your? Go ahead. You shut it.
I mean, I'm kind of right there in the middle. It was good. Yeah. I enjoyed the music, but I think it could have used a little more. I guess it could have been a little more conventional at times.
Was that so? But that was okay. So,
no, that's kind of it. I mean, they did what they did. It was a little weird. It was mostly just strange sounds more than music to me. It worked, but I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily change it either. It was a fucking good movie.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. I think that's the other thing too. I'm dwelling on one thing, and I should get a little bit more broad as far as like the characters and the story and blah 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 whatever.
Yeah.
So can I ask? Is this supposed to be 3 movies or 2 movies? What's
this first book is going to be 2 movies. Okay, so that was you basically saw like the first half of the book. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Because there's going to be like with where it ends, there's going to be some sort of time jump in the next movie.
Okay.
With them kind of like, integrating with the Fremen culture and stuff. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So do you think where they ended it was good?
Yeah, and that's it. All right, so the 2 biggest things like I've heard from people just hearing some reviews here and there is I heard that people didn't like the score and they didn't like that it just ends abrupt.
Well, that's how it was going to feel anyway.
It has an abrupt ending, but I'm like, I'm like, everybody loved all the Lord of the Rings movies, and they all did that shit too. It was like the same type of ending as a Fellowship of the Ring or
kind of
Two Towers.
I have to say though, I think those two complaints. I think one lends itself to the other.
Right.
Because again, it never felt. You never felt like there was a climax to the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it was
the whole time.
It was at 11 the whole time.
Yeah.
That like when it was finally ending and like I could kind of tell. I was kind of like, oh, okay, and then we even had to pause it because I had to use the bathroom. I'm like, oh, there's only like fucking 5 minutes left on this thing.
Right.
So I was like, oh shit, okay. So and then it kind of felt that way, and I was like, all right, you know what? If this score was happening from here out,
right.
it would be a little bit more of a. You like as a casual viewer, you go, okay, this is ending.
Right, a little more palatable.
Sure. No, yeah, palatable, but like familiar. I guess. I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like, you know, as a movie viewer, if you've seen enough movies, you can kind of feel the ebbs and flows of the storyline, right? You can feel where the climax is. You can feel where the kind of the what do they call that? The crescendo. I don't know. Whatever.
Rising,
falling, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of feel
film school.
you can feel that, and this was because it was always there. It was I think you get jarred when you're like, oh shit, it's over. You know? But,
I could see that too, and that's why I'm interested to hear somebody like you that doesn't really know the books, just as a casual, like a casual movie going audience.
It's a big
what do
movie.
people think about this? Because
they're hyping the sucker up.
So
let's
much
go.
terminology. There's so much lore. And they kind of just throw you into it.
Yep.
But at the same time, I did think he did a really good job turning this type of material. Like, if you read the book, it's even, like, heavier than that. And with all the philosophy.
Oh, really?
And it's... A lot of the action sequences in this are just briefly mentioned in the book. They're not, like...
Got it.
You know what I mean? That's not the focus of the
true.
book. But I like that stuff is in the movie, because it's just... And it's a thing that movies can do that books can't. Right. So it's cool to see those aspects of this lore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I obviously I really enjoyed it. It's funny because it was obviously a really long movie, but it's so funny. I guess just because I read the book, I do feel like they rushed through some things, which is funny because it was like they really took their time with certain things. But then I feel like secondary characters, like for example. Dr. Yui, that character.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the guy with the eye, the guy that
right.
Like, you remember everything.
No, that's Thufir's like the Mentat.
Right.
They should have explained that a little bit more for.
I kind of got it. I kind of got it in context. I was like, oh, he's just like a Rolodex. He's like a fucking human Rolodex.
Yeah,
like,
right. Because there aren't any computers in this world,
right?
Like,
which is pretty dope. I've seen a couple of great memes with that guy already.
Oh, really?
It's like a picture of him with his eyes rolled back, and it's just like me trying to remember my password.
Yeah, but no, Dr. Yui is obviously he's the House Atreides doctor.
Okay, remind me.
In the
which
book, he's called
is.
the Soup Doctor. He's the Asian guy with the tattoo on his forehead, the diamond tattoo. And he ends up betraying Duke Leto.
Betraying, but then helping them kind of redeem himself.
Yeah. So in the book, you know that right off the bat that he's going to betray them, like in his inner,
monologue. Whatever it is,
And I knew they weren't going to do that in the movie, but maybe just a couple more scenes. Like there are a couple things in the book where he's almost gets found out by Jessica, and he has to divert her attention to somebody else, because that whole thing, his inner turmoil with his wife and stuff, it just kind of was glossed over in the movie. But I'm wondering if maybe that does work better in a movie to have it be a little bit more of a surprise. I don't know.
I guess, right? In the storytelling, you gotta have to kind of have like a heel turn like that, and you're like, oh shit, that guy, whatever. What did you think? And where is your background? Because I know, I know he's heavy duty into it.
It's kind of the same. I'm a little more, I guess, I'm not as severe case as he is. Like he's super into it. He reads all the extended universe shit. But I mean, I started reading the books years ago, and I just kind of got latched onto it, I guess, because I came from Star Wars, all that fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But it was good. The tone was awesome, but it was kind of the same as the book. The book feels the fucking same the whole time. It might as well. all tense. Nothing
Really?
physically really happens, or if it does happen, it's kind of alluded to, or it's right after something happened.
Yeah.
You don't get a whole lot of like full on action in Dune. So
No,
that's where the
that's- yeah.
contrast comes from the film, and I guess what makes it exciting. It's a familiar story to me, but told in just a completely different way.
You know, and what's interesting, I've been reading things since the movies come out. I've been reading things in different people's opinions, and the one thing that I think lends itself to what everybody complains about is the fact that it's supposed to be it's 24. The world itself
Right.
is 24/7 tense because
Yes.
there's a fucking drought. There's a fucking
Yep.
like it's you
fucked
know
up.
it's like apocalyptic.
Yes.
So you're trying to be made to feel like
You're fucked.
everything sucks. Oh god, you know, like
Definitely.
So
And you could see that with like Duke later. He's like, "Fuck, how am I supposed to like even get this shit off the ground?" You know?
Right.
So it definitely is tense.
can I ask
The
a
whole
question?
movie.
Because I honestly I couldn't tell the entire movie. Is Chalamet's character name Paul?
Yes.
Like Paul?
Paul, like
Yeah.
Paul McCartney.
Okay.
Yes.
I love how everybody has these like crazy names and he's just
Right.
Paul.
Yeah, he's just Paul. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's pretty wild to me. I kind of dig that. But I was having a hard time understanding if, because everybody else had crazy names, I was like, oh, maybe his name's Paw. Like Paul,
Right.
like some, like P-A-U,
No.
like no L.
No, Paul
You know what I mean?
Blart.
Well, that's why the subtitles come in again. That's,
Yeah,
that's
but
helpful.
that's what I'm saying. It read as Paul, and I was like, okay, is that really Paul?
Yeah, did they do that
I was like questioning my subtitles.
yeah.
It's true.
Actually, one of my friends, I don't know if you had this thought, just as a new, newcomer to this material, where you like, why the fuck are they using like swords and shit? It's like the year 11,191,
No, I could see that. But I've watched enough movies to see, sci-fi stuff where it's like, we're a futuristic. It's like a futuristic medieval times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like guns are kind of used, but not really. It's like
Right.
even like
There's a
fucking-
reason for it, though,
Right.
which is cool. But
Even
they should have
Star Wars.
explained it a little bit in the movie.
Even Star
Yeah.
Wars. Oh, there's a specific reason
Yeah,
for
so
it? Oh,
because
okay.
my
That I
friend's
didn't know.
like, that's so stupid. Like, why are they doing that? And I was like, all right, guys. And so I'm in my
Yeah.
chat. I'm like, the shields. They're in the book. They're called the Holtzman shields. Like that's
That
this
little
new
thing that will
technology,
shoot that they
right?
have where
Yeah. So
everybody's-
they use it for everything. And if you were to shoot somebody with like a fucking laser gun or whatever, and they have the shield, it's like the equivalent of like setting off a nuke or like a huge explosion. So the creation of that technology made society go back to using stuff like swords and knives and shit, because if you're slow, like Gurney said, Josh Brolin's character says that, like the slow blade penetrates the shield.
That's
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
That's kind of cool.
So that's why.
It's
And
out
I
of
guess
necessity.
it's an excuse.
It's right. I get it. It's out of necessity because of invention.
Right.
Because of the technology that they have, they need something. Because of the offensive technology they have, they need something just as equally defensive to counteract.
Right. So,
And then
and I think
got it.
like Frank Herbert played with that idea a lot. Like obviously in his future, there's no computers.
Right.
There's no thinking machines. So that kind of lends itself to this like feudalistic
I
society.
really don't understand the whole fear of AI thing. Like, they have fucking sandworms and shit.
Yeah.
You're scared of AI.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Well, it's
there are bigger problems.
Yeah. Of course.
But, I
Of
don't
course.
know.
It's there's somebody's got to be the boogeyman, right? There's always some new technological advancement that always needs to be the boogeyman. It started out in fucking with Frankenstein and electricity. You know what I mean? Like that's
Very true.
Yeah.
that's-
Galvanism.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess I'll ask both of you this now. What did you guys think of the villains, like their little sections? I know they weren't in it a lot. It was kind of like a
Wait,
like
wait,
Darth
wait.
Vader in the first Star Wars. Like he's only in it for what, like 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that deal. What'd you guys think?
Was one a great big fat person?
Was he a great big fat person?
Or Great Big Skarsgård. There's a Great Big
Yeah, I
Skarsgård.
guess. Well, I'll start with Mike because you're obviously very new to this. So
I'll tell you what, I thought Batista was underutilized.
he is in the
Yes.
book too. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
kind of
definitely
like,
a thing in the
damn,
book,
they're being
yeah.
really faithful because Raban's not really in it a lot.
Yeah.
God, for you always, again, it's just the typical movie tropes when you're watching a flick that when you see somebody that is a named person and you're like, oh, I know who that is, you expect like that person to be part of the movie more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like some of these side characters, like your doctor guy, you know, where I don't know who that actor is. I've probably seen him in something before, but I don't know
either. But like he's new to me.
Like him being a tertiary character, you know, was kind of like, okay, cool. Like I said, I can't even, you know, like I can't even remember his face if I think about it. You know what I mean? But like Batista, I know what Batista looks like, and I know he would have looked like in the movie, and they kind of like underutilize him a little bit. Skarsgård, that guy, they really just honed in on the fact that he's just like fucking pure evil, right? Like he's just like evil personified. I didn't get the maybe it was just the room was too bright. The scene where like he gets messed up and then like, he's up on the ceiling or some shit.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that about?
Okay. In one of, I think it's like the second scene he's in where they're setting up the whole plot to, you know, destroy the Atreides, to use the Emperor's soldiers. And remember when he like floats up?
Yeah.
It's because he's so fat, like he has suspensors, so they kind of keep him in the. I don't know why everybody needs to make him like fly around in all these adaptations, because in the book he just kind of has like suspensors that kind of just like keep him up off the ground so he can move around because he's so fat.
Like stilts or something?
No, like just, you know, like futuristic technology, like suspensors that kind of like literally like let him float around.
Oh, okay.
Because he's fat, you know what I mean?
Got it.
So,
but he's also like super nimble for some reason. Like
it's like Chris Farley.
Yeah. Like he was like all over the place, right? Like that
because he's floating around,
right? But he was like all of a sudden quick, like bam, and then like he's just up in the corner of the room.
Yeah,
like,
because that's in the book. Yeah, obviously Leto does that thing with the tooth. He uses his suspensors, I guess, to get away from it. But yeah, in the movie, he uses his suspensors to go all the way up to the ceiling to like kind of like shield himself. And he even turned his shield on, which I thought was cool that he had it on his ring, because like I was like, oh, cool, that's like useful. It's not just like a fashion statement.
Right. That's like not his crown or whatever.
Yeah.
That signifies that he's the king bad guy, you know.
Right. Did you, because just, I love like the whole Harkonnen thing in the book. Like I'm really interested in them. I wanted to see more of them. I get why they were just peppered in for this first one, just to kind of set the stage. Did you feel like it was too short, or?
It kind of felt like Lord of the Rings style, where it was like, these are all the orcs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And here's the main bad guy, and he's the one pulling the strings in the background, and all right, send the orcs out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's like, so yeah, in that regard, then in how you're presenting it, yes, I think that's should have been maybe focused in on a little bit more, because like I thought there was one line that I remember that probably made me think that they were going to kind of focus in a little bit more on like how crazy these guys are. I think it was Josh Brolin that said, like, did you ever fight what do they call it? What are they called?
Harkonnens. Well, they say I think it's really pronounced Harkonnen. Okay. I just like saying Harkonnen. It sounds cooler to me. So I just say that still.
So you ever fight a Harkonnen or whatever? He's like, they're brutal or whatever he says. Like, so like I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of like one of those introductory lines where you're like, oh, we're gonna find out just how brutal they are. You know, you kind of get a little bit of background on like why they're so fucking brutal and why they're so hard to fight, and then that never came.
Yeah, but then they didn't even really use their soldiers for the most. I mean, they used some, but they used the Sardaukar, which are like the emperors. Like they're supposed to be like, the best fighters,
right? That's
ever.
I got that. They looked like they were kind of like their Israeli army, like they were Israeli special forces that kind of came in.
Right. Yeah. So, but they are. It's kind of weird I'm kind of glad the movie didn't do this, because the book really, like, with the Harkonnens, especially Baron, like in the movie, if they were a little more faithful, like let's just say, you know, all those, I think they were women. They're like they're all bald, so it was weird. It was like you don't really see them that much, but they have that kind of those slave girls in there.
Yeah. Right.
Let's just say if they were a little more accurate for Baron, they would be like little boys, like slave boys. Because in the book, they kind of allude to like he's a weirdo. Like,
oh, okay. Yeah,
but I'm kind of glad they just made him like just an evil villain in this. Like, you don't really need to do that to show how bad he is.
Yeah, it's true.
So, when Gurney's saying that, he's like talking about that shit. But the cool thing is, in the prequel books, do you see like his little scar, Gurney's little scar on his face?
Brolin?
It's really subtle.
Yeah.
But that's from Batista did that to him because he used to be like a slave on Giedi Prime, which is their homeworld.
Right, and he also killed his wife and daughter, and Draxus always wants to kill Thanos anyway. So
he did kill Gurney's parents and raped his sister and killed her too.
Wow.
So, like, that's a whole thing, and I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna, say anything about that. But in an interview, Josh Brolin did say that Batista gave him that scar. So I was like, oh, cool. They're like somebody told him that backstory. So
that's cool. That's cool.
So yeah.
So what about you as far as the villains of this movie? Did they do justice to what you were expecting?
Pretty much. Honestly, everything was pretty much what I remember from the book in terms of how the characters were used and shit like that. But honestly, I don't have a lot of complaints in that department. They did the villains well.
Good.
It was limited. You didn't really get a whole lot out of that. It was more about fucking Paul and all that fucking stupid nonsense and their family dynamics. Just all tense.
Yeah, they definitely had a
Fremen spitting on tables.
Yeah, right. It definitely.
That's great. Love that.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That was hilarious.
That was cool, right?
That was hilarious. When it first happened, you're like, oh shit, and then you're like, oh okay, I get it. The moisture, and that's a big sign of respect or whatever.
And by the way, Javier Bardem, fucking awesome. Perfect still guard.
It's true.
Perfect.
It's true.
I know you didn't see a lot of him, but like he's gonna be like really heavy in the next
okay.
one.
So as I get it,
he's awesome.
Tell me if I interpreted the movie correctly. So, like, Paul is the heir of this royal family that has been in charge for, or has been in charge for generations, and his guards get turned against him by these bad guys that are coming in that used to rule this planet that they're on or whatever. So, kind of exiled Paul, and anybody else that is like-minded of Paul is now going and finding these people that actually inhabit the planet.
Yeah.
That are his only hope to help to have an alliance to then defeat the previous people, the bad guys. Am I getting that right?
Yes,
I mean,
that's where
much.
It goes on the surface, but I will say it's not your traditional, like, it's not just gonna be like, and Paul is the hero and he's gonna take down this evil Harkonnen.
Right,
man.
I get it. I'm giving you very bare bones of what.
No, but it is.
I presented.
Like that stuff is gonna come about. Like that is the trajectory of the story going forward. But then you realize that it's kind of like a subversion of that story because Paul. Like think of Paul. I'll just say this. Like think of Paul kind of as like Michael Corleone.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like he's gonna get into power soon.
But it sounds like people aren't really. It sounded like the Fremen.
Yeah.
Fremen are not. They don't want any of these people to be in charge because it's their fucking planet.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Because they were basically. It feels like Australia and the Aborigines. Like if I give an example, right? Like it feels like people that these are the Native Americans that live here.
Right.
And you have these people that are just thrust upon it because the land is fertile and needs it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then now we're the rulers, and the Aboriginal people are like, "Fuck you, get off my land! Like this is my shit."
Yeah.
Like I know this place, but I can live out in the desert in the worst parts of Australia, while you only can live near the coastlines because that's where the water is and that's where the electricity is.
Yeah.
You guys are pussies. I'm out in the desert. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then well, wait, we can work together. Go fuck yourself. Type of thing. Like that's kind of like that feel, and then. But now it's no, you don't understand. If these guys get in charge, we're all fucked. Like everybody's fucked, right. And so then it becomes okay. Let's the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It still bothers me when he said desert power.
Why?
Every time he said desert power, it just drove it. I was like, what the fuck? You sound
like
like an
air.
asshole. We had sea power.
But that's in the book, man.
Land.
That's in the book.
I know,
I
and
guess
it
saying
bothered
out
me.
loud.
And it bothered me in the book too.
Oh, okay.
I was just like,
yeah.
what? Why? You sound like an ass.
Yeah.
And then after that, they got to get Nintendo power.
Exactly.
But the thing is, the reason the Fremen are coming around to Paul is because, like, let's just be real. Like, the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood, like, they fucking call the shots. Like, they're evil little bitches.
Yeah.
They fucking because
yeah.
they planted those seeds.
That
In the book,
dynamic,
it's kind of called like the Missionaria Protectiva or whatever, where they'll make up like. Because they're trying to make the Kwisatz Haderach. They say that like the super being that Paul is, supposed to become. They know that because they've been breeding for this.
Oh, so
over
they
the
got
centuries.
So they got skin in the game. They're trying to breed everybody out.
Yeah,
and they
basically.
planted
It's
that
eugenics.
seed on Arrakis.
Eugenics.
And that's why there's nothing like supernatural about that when Paul comes and they're like, oh, this is like our savior. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
planted that seed. They were like, yeah, one day like this guy's gonna come and he'll know your ways.
He'll know your ways.
Yeah. Like they planted that seed. So they're just really like scheming and
Now,
and
can I
control of everything.
ask? Did you just spoil something for me, or was that presented like that in the movie?
No, even Jessica says it.
Oh, okay.
or Jessica or Paul says it. They're like, yeah, they like planted that.
Okay.
Like your sisterhood planted that idea. That's why they're saying that.
Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
okay,
it's
I didn't.
definitely in there.
I didn't register the first.
They
time,
did
so.
say it in the,
Okay,
in
that's
the
fine.
movie, so.
That's cool.
But yeah.
So, what were your like? I want to hear your biggest complaints as
Yeah. Okay.
as a avid book reader and world knower for this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you know what's crazy is when I've been looking forward to this movie now. It's like it feels like for a couple of years, it's like holy shit. When they first started like bringing out the casting and everything, I
Yeah.
was getting more and more excited. I'm trying to read everything. You know how I do that.
Sure,
like I
of
read
course.
everything about it. I think that can hurt a little bit because then your expectations are like super high. But honestly, like it did meet most of it.
Good.
Which is good.
That's good.
But there were just like a couple little things. Like Dr. Yui for me kind of like fell a little flat.
Okay.
I also kind of didn't like. I get why, but there were a couple of characters that they didn't put in this movie. They didn't put in the Emperor. They just mentioned him.
They did the same thing in the book, though.
All this happened basically because the Emperor is just a little jealous bitch. Because he's jealous of Duke Leto.
I
He's
don't remember.
popular.
Did we see the Emperor in this at all?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
You
So-
don't see him in the book either.
No,
though.
you didn't see
it's-
anybody in the book. You just read it.
Well, no, that's what I mean. You didn't see him play like any kind of major role
Yeah,
in
I know.
the book.
I guess
at
it would have
all.
been cool to just like maybe see him once. I don't know. It's fine. Maybe it's a minor nitpick. That's what I'm
Gotcha.
saying. And then also Fade not being in it. So Fade Rotha is Raban's Dave Bautista's character's younger brother, and he's kind of like the evil Paul, like the evil version of Paul.
Oh, cool. That's
So I
kind
think
of
they're
cool.
saving him
Yeah.
for the next movie
Got it.
because he's supposed to be like, that's who the Baron wants to rule Arrakis. He's just using, Raban's like brute force because he's like the big muscle.
Okay.
And he's kind of just like leading him on, like, yeah, you go take care of all my shit on Arrakis. That's why at the end he's like,
Yeah.
go kill all the Fremen, like do all my shit. But then he wants Fade to be like the ruler of Arrakis.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I guess that's cool to leave it for the next movie. It's fine.
Okay.
It didn't really hurt the movie. But I will say, so you're saying like what things that I'd not really like.
Yeah.
In the beginning, because it's in the book, like all the visions and everything
Right.
that Paul has. In the beginning, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is cool and everything. I think they showed a little too much into the future. Like they were literally showing like what he's gonna do in the next movie, like
Really?
in the visions for the most part. And I was like, leave it a little bit of a mystery. Like I feel like they were really showing a lot.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just premonitions of because the
mean-
big things they showed were premonitions of things that happened in this movie already, right?
Yeah, with Chaney and like Zendaya's character. Like,
Yeah.
Towards the end, dude, I'm like, all right, we got with the Fremen. I don't need to see another at the end for some reason, just a couple of those visions. I'm like,
Enough.
didn't need to be there. Like, it's okay, I get it now. Like, because I felt like it hurt the flow of the movie a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So really that, and then just little character moments where I was like, damn, I wish some people got a little bit more development, I guess.
Got it.
But other than that, I mean, I really liked it. But
That's cool. That's cool that they can, it's really great, especially with a sci-fi movie where they're and with something like this where they're trying to make a whole big series of it, series of movies. It's great when you can appease the base, appease the hardcore followers, and also have enough typical movie tropes to bring in people like myself
Right.
You know, that maybe, and then also where you lie somewhere in the middle.
What were you saying about Duncan, Idaho the other day? You made a good point. I mean, you did.
Jason Momoa needs to chill the fuck out.
I thought he was fine, but he makes.
He's just a super Jason Momoa.
He's Jason Momoa. And
It's just like, dude, try and be Duncan, Idaho at least a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I just want to. I every time I see Jason Momoa in a movie, I'm just like, dude, when you're done, you want to go hang out for a beer, like real quick. Like that's really what I want to do with this guy. Like I just want to hang out with him, like because he's Jason Momoa every time.
Just
like, hey, what's up, man?
Just chill.
That works with because in the book, he is like buddies with Paul, like they have a close connection. So that did come across.
Right.
Okay, I like that, but I get what you're saying, especially in the beginning. Like, he was just like Jason.
Chill. He's just a bro, man.
Yeah.
Just a bro.
Right.
But I gotta say, dude, like I loved like his fighting scenes. I was glad to see that like you could see Duncan like fight a little bit, and even Gurney. I know it was quick, but when the battle of like Arakeen first starts, that really gets glossed over in the book. He's just like, anyway, there was a battle, and I want to get back to my like philosophy shit. Yeah. But like, it was cool to see that stuff, and I like we were saying what we were saying about the score and everything. But in that moment, I fucking loved it when like the first of all when they get to Arrakis and the fucking bagpipes start playing, I was like, I never would have thought of this like.
That's a great idea.
I loved it. I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's badass. And then it starts playing again when like he's like fighting the Sardaukar. I was like, fuck yeah, I got pumped. I don't know, I liked it.
Yeah.
That was good.
Something about bagpipes always get me pumped anyway.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying.
It's something in my DNA. Like, the Irish Scotch shit.
Me too. Yep.
It gets me.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that, and that was a cool thing. And like that's extended in that sketchbook thing. Like he had that idea, I guess, because that's like the House Atreides theme, which I thought was, I thought it was awesome. And I also liked when Duncan, Idaho, because that happens in the book too, right? When he gets in, he steals an ornithopter to escape.
That was a good design for the ornithopter. I thought they did the ornithopters pretty well.
Was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So
we're searching for spice, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like that he fucking just like killed like 2 or 3 dudes, and then the other 3 dudes he just like get the fuck out of here, and then they're like, oh shit. So yeah, I thought that stuff was really well done. What did you guys think of like the pacing overall of the story, like in movie form? What did you think, Jake?
Pretty good. It just kind of needed to chill the fuck out. It was tense the whole time. I kind of agree with Mike on that one. It was just like the whole time.
Yeah.
It was good. I like they did the story well. I like the atmosphere. It was a Villeneuve movie, so it's whatever. It's what you'd expect. It was good.
Yeah.
But it needed to chill right the fuck out. Everything about that movie needed to chill a little bit. Like nobody was really likable, and I know nobody's really supposed to be likable.
Yeah.
They try and make Paul to be out this protagonist and all that. No.
So what you
scumbags.
So wait, are you guys saying that technically Paul is after when all is said and done, Paul is
to spoil stuff.
Okay, but you're not. Yeah. You don't have to.
I don't want to like ruin it for you.
It's not really ruining anything, even from what you've seen.
Is it like a? Is it kind of a? Is it kind of like fucking Dark Materials, where like the so far on HBO where they were kind of like building up one character, but then there's this other story of another character completely, and then it's just kind of like it's bringing them together at the end. Is it like that kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, he's the protagonist kind of this movie, but overall, when it all is said and done, there's going to be other people that are just as
That's
important?
more accurate.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So this was just kind of like introducing him to everybody as, he is a protagonist of this movie, of this part of the story, but not necessarily the full story.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And
So instead of Paul being the main character, it's literally the Atreides in general.
Got it.
That
Sure.
bloodline.
right.
That's what turns out to be the main character.
Got it. I get it.
It's one of those things where, and this is where when I was reading, when I read the book for the first time, I was like, this fucking Game of Thrones just fucking ripped this shit off. Like,
Yeah.
and because Duke Leto is like the Ned Stark, he's like the good guy. I really fucking liked Oscar Isaac as Duke Leto. That was like perfect.
He did a
I
good
like
job,
pictured him with the fucking beard and
Right.
everything was perfect.
He did a good job.
He was like a good dad.
Yeah, he's a
good leader. Like they fucking nailed it with him.
He's just a good actor.
I was really, I was really happy with that. But so he's like the Ned Stark, he's like the good guy that ends up getting fucked, know.
Right.
And then his son, like he's pretty much like out for revenge now. You know what I mean? And he's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna use these Fremen, like my dad wanted to get back at the Harkonnens. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
make a power play here. So.
Yeah. So as far as the pacing, though, it. How long was the movie? 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
I think it was like 2 hours and like 35 minutes or something like
exactly.
that. Yeah, what did you guys think?
So, as far as then pacing goes, yeah, I didn't really feel like it dragged too long.
Uh-huh.
You maybe could have trimmed out 20 minutes, here and there, maybe a couple of scenes dragged down a little too long, kind of stuff. So like overall, you probably could have saved another 20 minutes, and that probably would have even made it feel a bit better. But I think that the other thing too is like it just real versus real, REEL versus REAL. When you're considering the fact that there's going to be other movies, and it's going to be this whole big epic story, making it stretching it out like that to extend the pacing a little bit or slow it down a little bit is fine, because then it'll understand, it'll play more when you see the next couple of movies, like whatever they are. If they're like, what's the plan? Is it 2 movies, 3 movies?
Yeah, so I just hope that they at least just do part 2, and I've been hearing that they're pretty much going to go ahead with it just to finish, because you have to finish this book at least.
Sure, right.
So if they can finish this book, I'd be happy with just that. If for whatever reason they don't move forward. But you could do a really cool thing. I don't know, and Jake, I'll ask you about this. Like, do you think they should do what? Because the sci-fi series did this. It was just called Children of Dune.
Right.
But they mushed the two. They
Messiah,
put Dune Messiah and Dune Children of Dune together as one thing.
I think as long as they don't linger in Messiah too long and get on with the Children of Dune, it'd be a good movie.
Yeah, I think, dude, the Messiah to me is like the fucking Godfather. I don't know. It's just like it even has like a similar like ending.
So is that supposed to be this next one?
No, the next book. So the next movie, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna make it, is going to be still just Dune, like the first movie. I mean, the first book.
Is it going to be Dune 2? 2 Dune?
2 Dune. Too fast, 2 Dune.
TOO, Dune.
Yeah.
2 Dune.
But I think people are going to like the second part of it even more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's a lot more like political intrigue and like a lot more, probably more action. They did.
I guess that's true.
I felt like, I don't know if I should like talk about it, but I felt like they just spoiled something. Not spoiled, but like they showed their hand too quick right at the end.
Okay.
So can I just say it? I don't know. All right. Because when it ends, like people said, it ends just like, what the hell? It's over?
Yeah.
When they're like, all right, we choose to stick around with you guys. Like, we're going to... and Paul's like, we're going to hang out with the Fremen. And just like, know their culture and shit. When they're walking away... They show fucking...
Oh, the guy riding a...
Yeah. I was
worm.
like, don't show that yet.
Why?
No,
because it's cool. It would be cool to save for the next one. Like, oh shit, you could do that.
But
I know they hinted at it with Kynes. Yeah.
Right. They hinted at it. So at that point, I was like, oh, that's going to happen. Like, I knew it there.
Right.
So then when I saw it at the end, I was like, yeah, that's what she was trying to do.
Right. I guess they did. Yeah. All right.
So it wasn't that big of a deal. I couldn't help but think of fucking Beetlejuice the entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sandworms, you hate them, huh? Come for your daughter, Chuck.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. What did you guys think of the worms? Like
I like the design.
Yeah. Okay.
Way better than the Lynch version.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they were kind of like.
You're saying they were at a technological handicap?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's not fair.
That's not fair.
Yeah, it was.
They look like buttholes. Butthole mouths.
Big time.
Big time buttholes.
Big time buttholes. That's my
what'd you think?
That's my new
Was
softball
that,
team. That's my new softball team, by the way.
Yeah.
Big time buttholes.
What did you think of the scene? So that's like the first scene where they're, and this is in the book too. Like this scene was straight from the book where the spice harvester's going and Duke Leto's in with just to kind of check out what's going on, and then the sandworms coming and they're like, oh fuck, and then the thing doesn't work and they got to go save them. What'd you think of that? Like
that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And I love that they're just like, no, fuck it, it's gonna get swallowed. Like we like just abandon ship. Like it's not like don't even try. Like they were like, yeah, we kind of expected that. It's just it's worth it for us to lose that versus getting the product that we got, the spice that we got. Like this that outweighs the cost of the machine getting swallowed up. Like they kind of like abandoned it like that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, and it kind of shows that Duke Leto's just like a good dude. He's not just gonna be like, well, fucking make him work like harder, like you know, like he's like, no, get him out. I don't care about the spice,
right?
And they had a little moment. So Kynes kind of looks at him when he says that, and she's like, oh, this guy's not like a total fucking dick. So that's cool. Like,
yeah, the one Atreides in their in history that's not a complete dick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm just it's
true.
It's true. I dug the whole sandworm thing. Is that what they're called too? Sandworms? Are they called sandworms? Or?
Yeah, I mean the Fremen call him Shai Halud.
Yeah,
that's
the
like
Shai
the god,
Halud,
right?
Yep.
Yes, got
Yeah.
it. So are they going to go into like how they've tamed them? How they've been able to tame them to the point where they can ride them without?
Yeah, I don't think they tame them as much as like they just figure out what to like. You even see it with her, like she sets the thumper, and that kind of like gets them coming in a direction. And then she kind of moves to a different side so she can like get her fucking hooks on it. But obviously that doesn't happen. Like we're not gonna see that until the next part of the book because they have to teach Paul like this is what you got to do to be a Fremen. Like you got to pass this final test. Like you got to ride a fucking worm. You know?
Oh shit! Oh, okay,
So,
that's kind of cool.
yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's I get it. Yeah, that's great.
And that's not really like spoiling things too much because you don't know what he's gonna do. He can fail.
Well, the book's been out for 50 years. So.
Yeah, but I mean that's gonna be really cool to see.
Yeah, I love that. I love when they're like, "Don't spoil anything, dude." It's based on a book that's been out since before you were born, motherfucker.
It's in the culture,
I know,
man.
and it's gonna be so funny. Like people watching this and they're like looking for the Fremen with the binoculars, and I'm just thinking of like Luke Skywalker looking for the fucking
sandworms.
sand
right,
people.
right.
And
Sand
like
people.
just copying off Star Wars, right? It's like, well, it came out way before it, so
Holy shit.
yeah.
Yeah, and then it truly did have a lot of. I've had a lot of Beetlejuice. I also had a lot of, like you were saying before, Tremors. I kept thinking about that.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they're like, oh, you walk like this, like you can't do rhythmic stuff, like you walk like the sand.
Yeah.
Which by the way was kind of goofy. Like how
Yeah.
they were walking.
That's one of those things that sounds cooler when you read it. You're like, oh, cool. They like walk, in a certain way, and then you see it, and you're like, ah, shit. You guys look like fucking idiots.
Yeah. but that's a neat. That was a neat little detail that how they like explain how these people coexist with these gigantic fucking monsters that are just all around them. And is it just any noise whatsoever, or is it like because there was a couple of scenes where like people were just straight up running on sand, and I was like, oh fuck, there could be a sandworm coming. What are you guys doing?
It's true.
And then nothing happened. Like, does the sandworm just not hear it? Is it? It has to be.
I don't know. I don't know how they work like that.
Volume level, or is it repeatedly?
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you just it's that I think they make it. Frank Herbert makes it that hostile. Like they talk about the winds. They didn't really say it in the movie, but like the wind can fucking like take your skin off. Like
Yeah. They said it in the movie.
Oh, did they?
Right
I must have missed that.
Yeah, right in the beginning. Right in the
the
very
sun
beginning.
can fucking kill you if you don't wear a still suit. But also, if you're just wandering around in the desert and you're not walking like an idiot and you're just walking like a regular person, like you probably will get fucked up.
That's
like,
crazy.
Like quickly in like 5 minutes.
Got it. Yeah.
So they make it like really harsh where all these like as they say outworlders can't.
Nobody wants to inhabit this world, but everybody wants to because of the spice.
Because of the spice, yeah.
But the planet itself just doesn't want you there.
It's oil, that's what
right.
Frank. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like that's what he's kind of talking about.
yeah.
So.
It's kind of like Australia. You can live there, but everything wants to kill you.
Everything wants to kill you. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they did a really good job with all that stuff. They could have explained some stuff a little bit more, but then it just gets like overwhelming. I don't know. I mean, But I mean, just hearing you talk about it, I feel like you got the gist of like.
Yeah, and that's it actually kind of surprises even me because I was like, and I knew when we were doing this, I was like, fuck, I don't remember what to talk about. Now as we're actually sitting here talking about it, I'm like, shit, I do remember a lot. So I guess it worked out.
And that's been the most interesting. I'm actually glad we're doing it here because that's the most interesting thing is to hear someone that didn't read the book, just like, what did you think of it just as a movie?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah, no, this is I mean, straight up coming in just cold, just straight up cold, and just seeing what this is. What this is like is pretty good.
This is the Drunken Idaho podcast, so we got to just say what we're drinking. Jake, people are going to be very surprised with your choice. Guinness? What?
Yeah.
And Mike and I are drinking. We're drinking. What do you think about this?
Voodoo Ranger.
Voodoo Ranger, yeah.
Voodoo Ranger IPA. This is the new Belgium.
Belgian whites are good, man.
Pretty cool.
And I'm a big Fat Tire fan. So
yeah.
Oh yes. So maybe if we do another one, we can have some Fat Tire. Mike,
perfect.
Would you want to do this? We got to set it up. We were thinking about doing a fucking commentary.
Oh,
just,
with the movie?
Just so we could like joke around and just like fuck around while we do it.
It'd be fun.
One night. It'd be kind of funny.
I'll do that. Sure. That's probably how I want to watch it again anyway.
Yeah.
Like, just now making fun of it.
Because Doug and I were talking about it too. Like we have to, and us too.
It'd be like Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Jake, what do you think about the potential of this being a franchise? Do you think it's just going to go the first movie and they're going to call it quits, or do you think there's potential for more?
I don't think it's going to turn into Marvel.
No, I just mean like, do you think they're going to adapt more of the books?
No. I think they're just going to get through maybe Messiah because there was talk about that or tacking it on to the end of the story somehow, making it. I don't know. Are they making a two-parter or a trilogy?
Well, like I said, this movie is 2 parts.
Right.
I mean, this book is 2 parts, so it's going to be part 1 and 2.
If part 1 and 2 were the first book, and part 3 was all of Messiah, would the hardcore fans be pissed?
I don't think the hardcore fans would be pissed. I think you could, you know what, in my opinion,
10 people would
you could
be
make
really
a
happy.
nice, tight little movie out of Messiah because it's only like 300 pages. It's
Oh,
not
really?
that long.
Yeah,
Okay. There you
it
go.
is brief. That's for
So,
sure.
So maybe the majority of hardcore fans would see the way that you're seeing it, where it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense because you could.
But it would almost work better as integrate it in the first half of doing something like Children of Dune.
yeah, but I actually really like the sci-fi adaptation because they do that. They do the whole Messiah story in the
Right.
first like, I don't know, hour and a half or whatever,
Yeah.
and then it goes into Children of Dune. So it's like
That would
hell
be
yeah.
that would be good for a movie.
Yeah, and actually, what's his name? Holy shit, James McAvoy was in it.
Oh really?
As, well, I don't want to spoil things. I don't know. Whatever. He's Leto too. Let's just say he's the second Leto,
It's a real scumbag.
All right.
and they're all fucking weirdos. So yeah, I mean, any more thoughts just on anything? Do you have anything else like any nitpicks? Anything?
Not
that-
really.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a fucking good movie comparatively.
Yeah.
Especially most sci-fi movies nowadays are just fucking horrible.
That's true.
What's the metric?
Yeah.
Star Wars? Like
Well, yeah, and then I don't know what else.
Right
like,
now?
I'm trying to
right
think,
now,
like,
there's
yeah,
really
like,
no
really
big
hard
science
sci-fi,
fiction
nothing really.
properties or nothing. So this is the first good sci-fi movie in a long time.
I know anybody listening
Since
to this
Blade
is-
Runner.
I know anybody listening to this is screaming their favorite sci-fi book
Yeah,
right now. Like,
but here's the thing, and
that.
I know you probably didn't see this movie at all, but I'm pretty sure that was his last movie. Denis Villeneuve, I think I'm saying that right. His last movie was the sequel to Blade Runner.
yeah.
That's what it's so funny because I'm a big fan of Blade Runner. I was worried a little bit. I know he's a good director, but Blade Runner 2049 is like the fucking slowest,
It's
like
slow as
most
fuck.
atmosphere. It's just like Ryan Gosling is just walking, and he's just walking, and he's keep on walking, and the sky is yellow, and he's walking, and it's like an hour. You're like,
my
holy
God.
shit, where's Harrison Ford? So I thought Dune was gonna be like this. That's why when I saw the first 10 minutes at that IMAX thing a couple months ago, I was like, holy fuck. He's like, he gets it now. Like the pacing was really like let's
Yeah.
go, it was nice.
Got
So
it.
I think he learned his lesson there with some of the reviews for Blade Runner 2040.
I guess. That's good. Well, that's good. You can see a director grow like that, and take his
I
criticism
mean,
seriously.
I liked that movie, but I do agree. Like when people have their criticisms about it. Like, it is just fucking like,
It's slow.
like, why did we just spend 20 minutes of Ryan Gosling walking through like a post-apocalyptic Las Vegas?
It's like it's like reading a Bronte novel where like they like take 3 pages to describe how the weather is like outside at that very moment, and you're like, dude, it's fucking cold. All right, come on, let's go.
It's fucking cold.
Right. And he did get that way a little bit, I thought, with the visions, like I said before, where I'm just like, all right, I get it. The fucking vision, you're having visions.
Yeah.
And maybe one other thing I could say too is I thought for the most part like the acting was really well done, except for when Paul is like freaking out in his little tent. He was just like, oh my god, like he's like saying what he's seeing. You know what I mean? It's like you don't need to, you could just show it. Like he's like, oh my god, I'm having visions.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's funny. I didn't notice.
you know what
that.
I mean?
didn't
It's like
think
there's a
of
girl, and oh my god, there's gonna be a crusade. And you're like, why are you saying this, man?
that. I didn't notice that. Now,
Oh my God.
Now I'm never not gonna notice it.
It's like I had a dream, mother, and you were in it, and you were in it.
It's Wizard of Oz. All the time.
Yeah. So yeah, but other than that, dude, I thought it was fucking epic.
It was good.
That's good.
And
I think I'm gonna say this for people that maybe like for people that are also coming into it cold, that aren't as forgiving as me, I guess. They're going to say that they wish there was more action. There was more fighting scenes, more, just to establish the fact that the what are they called with the S?
Sardaukar.
the Sardaukar, yeah.
That they weren't more badass, like maybe like a fight scene with them to like establish the fact that how badass they were, type of thing. Like,
I agree. Actually, I agree with that.
I think that like there's going to be people that are going to say those things that to nitpick it.
I will say, just because you brought that up, I don't know. You guys can talk on this too. What did you think of their outfits? I thought were just a little bland. Like when I thought of the Sardaukar in the. I love that word. I'm like, I thought they would be like more menacing looking, and they did when they were on Seleucus Secundus or whatever. That's like the.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting like fucking hardcore. That's the planet that they like train on.
Oh,
so that was that
okay.
scene. I fucking love that scene. It's not in the book at all. But Piter's got his little fucking cap on, like, because it's like raining. I love that, and he's like just going over to like the logistics of them.
Yeah.
Fucking going to. I love that shit. But they looked creepy, and I like that they like spoke a different language and shit. But their costumes were just like, like it was just kind of bland.
Yeah.
I thought they could have looked scarier.
Okay, cool. But like establishing them as like, the badass forces, I think would have been what people would have liked that more if there was a couple more action sequences like that where they could really show off some of their stuff. Because like I said, to open my opinion, visually this movie was amazing. I thought it was visually, you're like, wow, this
is awesome.
Like I can't even think right now how this was shot. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like how, where, what location are they in? Is this a soundstage? Is that a green screen? What am I looking at? Like, what's props? What's not? You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. That was pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah.
And other nitpicks. I mean, I don't know.
I'm glad that you kind of like overall. It seems like you enjoyed it. So that's good.
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I felt exhausted when it was over.
It was long. It did. I will say, it did. Towards the end, it did feel long. It felt like I was reading the book. I was like, fuck, I'm tired.
No, I was exhausted because of the tensity of it. Where I was like, the music got to me towards the end there too, where I was like, dude, come on. Like, like it was, that got me. So that's about it.
Yeah.
That's the best I can think.
And then one more thing before we wrap it up. I just want to ask both of you guys, just, the ship design, because we've obviously seen so many different sci-fi type movies with all these things. What did you guys both think about like the ship designs, all that stuff? Because I know, like we were saying, like it's visually it looks great, but like just all the designs for like the costumes and the ships and everything. What did you guys think?
Unorthodox.
Yeah.
Not exactly what my first idea of, all right, when you think like a spice harvester or something like that, maybe some form of an idea pops in your fucking head, but everything was unorthodox. It was strange. It was kind of abstract, but it worked, and it was kind of awesome at the same time. Like everything was done really well with this movie.
Yeah.
I liked how they were just basic shapes, like because like spaceships and like stuff. They always talk about like the shape of it, like the shape, how you can recognize it immediately, that kind of thing, like very. And it was they were just very basic shapes. Everything was very kind of a basic shape with like an extension of. Like you're saying, like the Spice Harvester thing, that was just a fucking crane. It was a rectangle.
Literally.
It was a cube
the
crane.
Harkonnen one did look cooler. That was in the beginning of the movie. The Harkonnen ones look cooler,
right?
In my opinion.
But it was kind of cool, like that, because it was. Yeah, that's a Spice Harvester.
It's what it is.
That's what it would look like. It would be a fucking crane, like
unorthodox, but it worked.
I loved how huge the highliners looked. They're fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Which ones were those?
The big like cigar shaped ones where all the little ships come out of it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Those are fucking sweet.
The dragonfly things.
The ornithopters.
Those were dope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Those were dope. Those were really dope. I liked seeing how they started up like regular fucking plane, like helicopters.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And then all of a sudden, they just go.
Yep.
That was kind of cool.
Well done. All right, cool. Well, I think that about wraps it up. We had a good discussion on Dune, on the movie. It's finally out. Holy shit! Felt like it was freaking took forever.
Yeah.
This was supposed to come out on my first wedding date. What was that? Like December 2020?
Oh, really?
It was supposed to come out then. I was like, fuck. But thank God we finally got it, and hopefully we get part 2, and we can, do another one for that. But
doing another one.
Yeah. Mike, thanks for letting us use your equipment. It's a lot more professional today.
Yeah, a little bit.
No problem.
And Jake, anything else? Do you have anything to plug?
No.
You're like, I'm a guy. No. Jake's gonna have a YouTube channel soon. It's coming.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Whatever. I work too damn much.
Yeah. All right. Well, that about wraps it up. Hopefully, next episode of the Drunken Idaho podcast will be a commentary where we just make fun of the movie, even though we like it. We could just bust on it, and it'll be fun. I think it'd be cool. Have a few drinks. It'll be awesome.
Let's do it.
All right. That's it. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Take care. Hey everyone, it's Ron here with a quick announcement. When I started this channel, I was reading and reviewing the Dune books and other sci-fi related material, and most of you might not know that I'm also a musician. So when I was reading these sci-fi books, I started to get inspired and decided to make my own soundtrack to use for my videos, and now I'm excited to tell you all about the first volume in the Ron Reviews original soundtrack collection. This album includes the first 17 tracks featured on my channel, and it's available now exclusively on Bandcamp. Be sure to check the description of this video for the link to the album. Thanks so much for the support so far. I know I'm just starting out, but I hope you're having as much fun as I am. So check out the original soundtrack Volume 1 on Bandcamp. This music is great if you want something moody and atmospheric to listen to while you're reading some science fiction. I think you're going to love it. Thanks.